And welcome back to Sports the Nemo Way, the Dominique Wilkins episode, the human highlight reel. The 6'8", 215-pound small forward is a zero-time champ, zero-time MVP, a 9-time All-Star, 7-time All-NBA. After playing 15 years in the league, being the third pick in the draft, and he is a Hall of Famer. With career averages of 24 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists on 46% shooting from the field. And as in last week, Wade is still the only person that left Dominique off his list. So we will kick it to Wade to hear his opening statement on why Dominique's off his list.
All right. Well, sorry. I actually really like Dominique. What kind of dive into my thought process was my 10 and 9, I believe, are Havlicek and Dantley. And on my original rough draft, I had Dominique at my 10 spot or my 9 spot, one of the two. But I had kind of forgotten about Dantley, and then I looked him up. And obviously then I wrote down Dantley and Havlicek is has all the championships and the accolades. So I went that route. And I didn't really want to put him and Dantley both on my list because they're almost the same exact player production-wise. So I told myself to just go with one, and I went with Dantley.
Well, I was actually going to ask you that in a few minutes, why Dantley and not Dominique. So.
Oh, I'm not going to. Honestly, the main thing was efficiency.
Yeah.
They literally do the same things. They score a lot of points. They're good rebounders, and that's about it. And Dominique's efficient too. He's not terribly inefficient, but I think Dantley was more efficient, and that just what stuck out to me. But I think Dominique being on your small forward list is fine. I think that's a pretty good pick at the bottom of your small forward list. I just went a different direction.
Fair enough. All right, so that will lead us to Drew, who has of the people that ranked the lowest at 43 overall and 9th on his small forward list. So Drew, why Dominique?
Well, I think Dominique's just another one of those guys that no title, no MVP, none of all that stuff. He just scores all the time and so often. We have some of those here. That's at the end of our list. That's normally who we have. Someone with no titles, not very that many accolades. They just score mostly all the time, and get their their totals up. Probably they don't play. They probably play for a while, but most of the time they just score and do all their stats look really good, but everything else is just not like team success is not normally great at these guys. It's bottom half of the list, unless we have our 60s and 70s guys down there. But that's a whole different story. But that's what I got for Dominique.
All right, thank you, Drew. Now that will lead us to the other Laker fan, Uncle Doug, who has him ranked 41st overall and also 9th on his small forward list. Uncle Doug?
Yeah, kind of like Drew said, this is another one of those players that it's the bottom of our list. They don't have the titles, but it has a lot of nice stats. He peaked out and had a season over 30.7. He has a scoring champ back in '86. He had a season where he rebounded with 9. He's 112th, I think, on the rebound list, but his average is not top 250. He is 16th on the scoring list, and his average is 14th on the list. The main thing with Dominique, for me at least, is you need to watch the videos. The human highlight reel really is the human highlight reel. And when I was looking through some of them, one of the most interesting ones is he was at a basketball camp, and at the age of 61, he could still dunk.
That's awesome.
That is pretty awesome. He was a pretty athletic guy. But yeah, again, it's another one of those right at the bottom of the list. We all kind of went a little different direction.
Fair enough. And that will go to me, who has him 40th overall, just one spot ahead of Uncle Doug, and also 9th on his small forward list. Well, a lot of what I wanted to say has been touched on already, but I will say this. I don't think anybody questions that this is one of the most exciting players ever to watch, one of the greatest dunkers ever, which I think he's on my list, so I guess I fall into this category. I think gets him recognition he otherwise wouldn't, because like Wade said, you have Dantley, who's very similar. You also have guys like Alex English, Carmelo Anthony. All these guys are very, very similar to him, but he was flashier. And he, is considered an all-timer at something that doesn't really matter when it comes to wins or losses. It doesn't matter how the point goes in, but if you dunked it really hard, it's cooler. So I do like that. Like last week with AI, he is one of 8 players to average 25 or more for a decade straight. And that was the only things I had on here that haven't already been said by somebody else. So I will now kick it to Ray, who has him ranked the highest, but just slightly, at 37 overall and 8th on his small forward list. So take us away, Ray.
All right, so we've all established he's an exciting dunker. He can score. The thing that stood out to me, as I'm trying to look at my paper in the glare, is that he never really had a team noteworthy that had a team. He never had a team with noteworthy players on it. I mean, he had his little Spud Webb. He had his past his prime Moses Malone, Doc Rivers, and then something even close to resembling a team with Stacey Augmon and Mookie Blaylock, but that was at the end of his career. So it's pretty much Wilkins trying to get it down on his own, maybe with a different maybe with a different class of players who would have some titles or maybe not, but all I can say is he made something great out of a career without the help of anyone but himself. So I can respect the shit out of that, since in today's NBA everybody's begging for a super team to win titles. Wilkins became legendary without titles, and that's why he's on my top 50.
Fair enough. I will say that Dominique doesn't have a great supporting cast. I think he played with 4 or 5 All-Stars over the course of his career. If, like you said, he played with Moses Malone for 3 years, but Moses was older. He still had back-to-back 20 and 10 seasons with Dominique, but it wasn't vintage Moses. And, like most of his career, he's playing with Doc Rivers and Kevin Willis and Spud Webb and guys like that. So a couple guys that made all-star teams, but no superstars.
He had solid teammates, but he wasn't going to beat the Celtics or the Pistons, pretty much.
Yeah.
They had much better or the Lakers at that time. They were better, just better all-around teams.
Yeah. No, I don't think you're going to get too much pushback on that. All right, so none of us have him ranked too ridiculously differently, but I will say I found it interesting that 3 of us have him at number 9, so ranked almost identically to each other, but nobody has the same guy at 10. So I couldn't pull on it and be like, oh, why is Dominique better than the same guy on a couple of our lists, because he's not. I have Pippen at 10. I think you have Dantley at 10.
Dantley, yep.
And you have
Paul Arizin, baby.
Paul Arizin.
Yes, sir.
And then Ray behind him, you have
Rodman, I think, right?
No, Rodman's a power forward.
Oh.
You have Worthy and
Mullins?
Worthy and Mullins behind him. So none of us have the same player behind him. So there's that, I guess. But I have a question for Drew.
Oh boy. Always a question for Drew.
Well, it just caught my fancy. It was just a few weeks ago. We were talking about some guy named CP3, and you so eloquently called him a loser.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Here we go.
I like Dominique. I'm not trying to come across harshly here, but when we talk about losing, Dominique did it more.
That is true. I'll give it to you. I can't argue with that. But what I will say was I think Chris Paul had better scenarios than what Dominique had.
Good point.
And that, I think it also didn't affect as much because I didn't watch Dominique play when I was alive. I saw all this Chris Paul awful stuff happen as a little kid growing up year after year. I'm not going to start that conversation again.
I will help you out a little bit, Drew. Chris Paul does have 2 of the biggest playoff collapses in NBA history on his resume.
Well, yeah, he's the only player to go up
You think so?
2-0.
He had two really, really bad ones, the Clippers.
Well,
One is against the Rockets, and one is against the Thunder.
Thunder or the Trail
I'll have to re-look them up.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm not debating that he didn't have, do something stupid or have a bad time, but I would think we would know what they were if they were the biggest collapses in NBA history.
Said one of them.
I know. I'm saying we can recall things that happened, that even things before I was born. I know what they were.
See if I'm right. The Rockets and Thunder. Then I'm right. Then I remembered.
Where's Chris Paul? All right, Chris Paul.
It was during some of his. He's up 3-1 and they collapsed.
Yeah, Chris Paul is the only player to lose 4 best-of-7 series when the team is up 2-0. He's the only player to do it.
2-0? Maybe it's when they're up 2-0, not 3-1. My bad.
He's the only one to do it 4 times when they're up 2-0. So. Yeah. But yeah, I'm not gonna argue with you that Dominique was not a loser because he was.
Not like Drew's just making a habit of calling NBA players losers.
What do you want me to call them? They weren't winners.
Oh, that's great.
Winning impaired.
Winning impaired. All right, we're getting politically correct here, guys. All right, so that being said, we've kind of danced around Dominique here. So why did you end up putting Dominique ahead of Paul Arizin, Drew, even though Arizin had some winning under his belt?
Era basketball. 80s.
Yeah,
80s. They scored probably about the same, and he's played in the 80s, and Arizin played in like the 50s, 60s. So I'd say even with one title, I think Dominique, with all his points and leading the league one year in scoring and all that, I think it just boosted him up a little more with the era he played in and when he did it.
fair enough. I guess same question with you, Uncle Doug. Why Dominique at 9? And who'd you say you had at 10 again?
Dantley's
Yeah.
10.
Yeah.
Well, kind of like Wade said, they're very similar players, but Dominique is definitely flashier. I think Dominique was probably a little more popular with his teammates.
Yeah.
Just looking at the numbers, game-wise, that's not that big a deal. But minutes, they played about the same number of minutes. Of course, Dantley had a better field goal percentage, slightly better on assists. Dominique averaged an extra rebound. Actually, Dominique had more steals than Dantley. Slightly more on blocks, slightly more on points, slightly less on turnovers. So that's why I went with him. I think one of the things I was going to mention was I think the difference between my list and Wade's at the end is probably I think I'm the one that doesn't have Paul Pierce.
I think you're correct.
Wade does.
He's like my 8 or something like that.
Right, yeah. And I think that's probably the difference between Wade and I. And again, looking at those numbers, field goal percentage, Dominique actually shot better than Paul, but obviously Paul shot better from 3 than Dominique did. Dominique was down around 320 and Pierce is up around 370. But assist-wise, Pierce has got an extra assist on him. Dominique has an extra rebound on him. Steals are the same. Blocks are the same. But Dominique had about 5 more points. And that's why I went with Dominique over Pierce. But I think that's the difference between Wade and I's list.
Yeah.
So what is the difference between ours then, Wade? Is it just Dantley?
Yeah, because me and Uncle Doug had Dantley.
Yeah, Wade and I had Dantley.
then
You two have Dantley, but
We have Pierce.
We have Pierce,
And then
but who do I have? Oh, and I have Dominique. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, got you. So, but then, wait, Drew, you don't have Dantley, right?
No.
You don't have Dantley, but you have Dominique. So, but you have Paul Arizin.
Yeah.
So but you don't have Pierce.
They don't have Pierce.
And who else?
I'll just read my small forward. LeBron, Larry Bird, Kevin Durant, Dr. J, Elgin Baylor, John Havlicek, Rick Barry, Scottie Pippen, Dominique, and Paul Arizin.
who are you comparing Drew to?
I'm just saying he has Dominique and Arizin.
I think if we compare it to Wade, I have Dominique where he has Dantley, and then I have Arizin where he has Pierce.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
I was just trying to make
there we
sense of
go.
all that.
Yeah.
That's how I was trying to get to. And then we have the mess that is Ray. You have Dominique, Mullins, Worthy. Am I missing any small forwards that you have that he doesn't have?
I don't know. What's the list say? Let's look at the list here.
He had Pierce, right?
Yeah, I got Pierce.
Yeah, he's got
Yeah.
Pierce.
He's on the Pierce side.
He's got Grant Hill.
Oh yeah, Grant
Okay.
Hill. Yeah, I forgot about that. Grant Hill. But he doesn't have Havlicek. He doesn't have Rick Barry. He doesn't have Elgin Baylor. Okay, so we're getting a clearer picture here.
The fog is clearing.
So why did you put Dominique ahead of Mullins and Worthy?
I think Dominique just had a better individual career, as in the other two were good with their teams, but they didn't really pop out like they should have. I mean, they were still great players, but they just weren't at the level Dominique was by himself.
So would it be fair to say, after listening to you for a little while now, Ray, that you like isolation scores?
I mean, not necessarily.
I mean, you like Dominique, obviously. I mean, but you were super high on AI, who's obviously an isolation scorer. Who am I missing here? There's been a couple other guys you've been high on.
Pierce was an isolation.
Pierce, Vince Carter. I'm not picking on you. I'm just
No, no,
I
I got
literally like. I mean, if that's what you like, that's what you like.
Well, I mean, it's not like I was like, man, I just love these guys. No, it's just the way they impacted their teams, and how they, just the way they impacted their teams, and showed out, and how they brought it to the teams by themselves when they didn't really have a great roster, and that's how they really, kind of threw on my list. I guess I could. I mean.
Okay, so I want to take it one step further. Why Iverson and Dominique and these guys that are isolation scorers that put up, big scoring numbers, and with various arrays of efficiency, but you don't like guys like Harden and Westbrook who are also fall into that mold?
Well, I think it's the era, and the era just kind of kills the player.
I mean, we all know I don't like this current era, so I'm not going to argue with you.
I mean, I guess it's just the flavor of the basketball, I guess. Because, I mean, with those two, they can just do whatever they want, but they don't win. You have Dominique, who's just throwing his ass out there with a shit squad, and he just, I don't know, just proving himself a little bit more than these other guys are just kind of hogging the ball and just throwing it up every night.
All right, fair enough.
Interesting question. What do you think? We were just talking about, like modern day scorers versus that time. How do you think Dominique would do today?
I think. Well, first off, I think they would move him to the 4.
Yeah.
And I think he'd be fine in today's game at the 4. I mean, Harrison Barnes does it, so I think Dominique Wilkins could do it. But I think an isolation scorer like Dominique, who put up big numbers by getting into the paint in a era where the paint was packed full of shot blockers.
And he dunked over a lot of those rim protectors.
Oh, absolutely. And going into today's NBA where it's wide open and there's barely any shot blockers or big men or anybody even standing in the paint half the time, I think he could thrive.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
I think Dominique would be like Giannis in today's NBA.
Dominique and Giannis have some similarities, I think.
Dominique's obviously smaller than him, I think. But
Say that again?
I think is Dominique smaller than Giannis probably?
Yeah, I mean, Giannis is listed at
inches,
6'11". He's 6'8". I mean, Giannis is 245. He's 215.
Yeah, he's just a little bit smaller, but I think he'd be just fine, like Giannis. I think that's how Dominique.
Well, like Alex said back in the day when they were, much more physical, and you watch some of those videos, he's dunking on centers and going up in crowds and throwing it down. And, you think, like, if they're playing Golden State, I don't think Draymond Green can stop him.
No.
Draymond Green can't stand in front of Dominique Wilkins.
Well, I mean, there's a difference between like the 80s and today. They were back there trying to earn their paycheck, Today you got this big medical staff in the back that's just massaging the shit out your legs after every game. I mean, they're not working it hard. I mean, they know they're going to go back there and get worked on. They ain't got, they're not trying to go out on the court and, do too much. They're going to go out there, do enough they got to do, get their endorsement deal, and pop, there you are. You're out the game. We're good.
Yeah, I definitely think that Dominique would be a force in today's NBA.
I agree. I do think it'd be interesting to see if they forced him into shooting a bunch of threes.
Right, yeah, he might have to work on his outside shot.
Maybe he would get better at it because they made him do it all the time. Or maybe he would just shoot more and still not shoot well, and then that would be a little bit of a detriment, I guess. But that's in today's NBA, that's accepted. Like, if you're a guy that shoots 32, 33% from three and you shoot 6 or 7 a game, they're like, okay, oh well. Like, nobody seems to care.
Yeah, no one cares.
Because they keep doing it. What are your thoughts, Wade? You think Dominique would play well today?
Yeah, he can get to the basket in any era of basketball. Giannis can. Why can't Dominique?
And like I said earlier, I think today's game is so much more wide open. I think Dominique would have an easier time of it.
Yeah, that's what Russell Westbrook does.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he'd scoring wise, he'd be the same. He'd still be in there yakking on everybody.
Fair enough. By the way, I did look up a list of most dunks all time, and surprisingly, Dominique didn't make top 10.
Really?
I feel like a lot of big men get a lot of cheap dunks that they don't
that's
really
probably
see
true.
like on ESPN and stuff. Like
That's true. Most of the people on the list were big men. Dwight Howard, Shaq, DeAndre Jordan's
not
on
like
it.
little grab the ball, hurry up and put it back dunks.
Like
and
little
stuff.
rebound, put back
Yeah.
down,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
You
I bet
know.
JaVale McGee might be on there.
No,
I didn't see JaVale McGee. I just don't think he plays enough over the course of his
Probably
career.
has a lot of the really good big men that played for a long time.
LeBron was on it.
Well, he's played for a long ass time.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, it did surprise me that Dominique wasn't on that list because I expected him to be.
Do you have Dominique as a top 3 dunker of all time?
Yeah.
I have him at number 2. I have my boy Vince, and then I have Dominique right below him.
I think I have Vince at number 1. Dominique might be 2. He's either 2 or 3 with Dr. J. I don't subscribe to MJ being a top 3 dunker of all time. I don't subscribe to that. But yeah, that's my top 3.
Yeah, I would definitely say Vince, Dominique, and Dr. J are probably the best 3 I've seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to agree with that.
I'm trying to rack my brain to make sure we're not like forgetting anybody obvious, but
I mean, there's been some really great contest dunkers over the years.
I was talking. I mean, I feel like Vince, Dominique, and Dr. J could all do both though, in game and in contest.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Well,
true.
They're more high flyers. I mean, there's guys like Dale Dawkins,
Mhm.
but he was just power.
He was kind of like Sean Kemp.
Just
Yeah.
power
Similar.
dunk.
They were a dunk on you and through you.
Well, and they went through that period there where they broke backboards. You
Yeah.
know, several guys brought down backboards, and they
Shaq
had
broke the support beam that holds up the entire hoop.
yeah, exactly.
Like just yeah.
That's a whole different kind of dunk.
I actually had a shirt in like I don't know, maybe junior high, maybe freshman year, because I was in love with Vince Carter, and then obviously through watching dunking videos, I got to watch Dominique just pop up on different stuff, and I liked him so much. I had this throwback Atlanta Hawks, all red basketball, it's a picture of Dominique dunking, and it says "Human Highlight Reel" on it, and I used to wear it quite a bit when I was younger.
Well, I will say, Wade, I was looking through some things and trying to come at you a little bit. I didn't really find too much, to be honest with you.
My number 10 small forward, your number 2 small forward, so be careful.
Not number 2.
Havlicek's your number 2, isn't he?
No, LeBron's 2.
Oh, is he 3?
Yeah, I think
3,
he's-
okay, my bad, 3.
Yeah. But you know what I did keep finding though is similarities between Dominique and AI. And then I was like, well, I can't argue this because he left both of them off his list.
Wonder who has more win shares, AI or Dominique?
Oh no,
It's not Allen Iverson.
No.
Yes.
No, we're not doing win
Have to
shares
look.
again.
No, he has 117. It was just on Race Computer.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
God.
Actually, they have a very similar true shooting percentage.
Not good. Not good.
and they both significantly go down in the playoffs. Like their efficiency bottoms out in the playoffs. Yeah. Actually, doing research over the last few days, I might have easily been able to talk myself out of Dominique. So let me ask you guys this. I'm gonna pull up some stats here a second, and I didn't plan this, so bear with me for a second. But I kind of
Spontaneity. I like that.
yeah. I want everybody just grab their boards, and let's just do a blind comparison.
Okay.
Without Uncle Doug staring at my computer screen.
No cheating.
You piece of poop. All right. Obviously, you can split it up between player A and player B.
Science class.
That's right. All right. I'm getting this pulled up. All right. Player A averaged 23 points per game. I'm going to keep with player A. 6 rebounds per game. 2 assists per game. 1 steal per game. Half a block. 2 turnovers. This person shot 44% from the field. 35% from 3, and 81% from free throw. Player B, 24 points per game, 6 rebounds per game, 2 assists per game, 1 steal per game, half a block per game, 2 turnovers per game. This person shot 46% from the field, 32% from 3, and 81% from the free throw line. For those of you at home that aren't staring at your boards, those are very, very, very similar numbers. Does anybody know who player A and B are?
Well, B's Dominique.
B is Dominique, yes.
Besides 3 categories, they're identical. It's nuts.
Anybody want to guess on who A is?
I'm trying to look at percentage stuff.
It's a small forward. It's apples to apples.
Is it Melo?
It is Melo.
Ah, okay. Well, we've mentioned Carmelo a couple times.
Yeah.
You know, that needs some serious consideration.
He's a 10-time All-Star, 6-time All-NBA. He also has a scoring title. He also has had some playoff struggles.
Good thing with Melo, he has really good career averages and really good career totals.
Yeah.
His point totals are very high, very, very
Yeah,
high.
he just moved into the top 10 during the season this year, I believe.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, even a couple of those guys you named earlier with Carmelo, all are similar careers.
yeah, I bet Alex English has similar numbers to these guys.
Alex English has got 21-5, 5.5 rebounds, 3.6 assists.
Yeah.
Yeah, close.
And I believe English was another one of those guys that shot well from the field, if I remember correctly. Alex English is a 50% shooter, 83 from free throw. Again, 21% from 3, like some of these other guys. Like I think Dantley shoots 17%.
Well, didn't he always shoot like
31
33s
or something? Yeah, like
in his
it was
whole
something-
career.
Yeah, something low like that. I mean, English only shot 83.
Oh wow.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, these guys didn't want any part of that 3-point line.
A couple other guys you might, just for grins, look up. Billy Cunningham. Billy scored 21.2 points, 10.4 rebounds, and 4.3 assists over his career. And Marcus Johnson. And he was one that I liked when I was a kid because he played for UCLA. And he's averaged 20 points, 7 rebounds, and 3.6 assists.
Nice.
There's a couple other guys that I considered when I was talking about these. Don't know them as well as some of these, but had pretty good careers.
I'd say so. Yeah.
Yeah, Cunningham shot 45% from the field, 73 from free throw. Again, 26% three-point shooter, but none
I
of
was
these
kind of
guys.
surprised by the 10 rebounds.
Yeah,
That's a
I
lot.
mean, he averaged a double-double.
What era did he play in?
60s, early 70s.
Yeah.
Who was the other one, Uncle Doug? I'm sorry.
Marcus Johnson. He wasn't as dominant in the NBA. I mean, you didn't hear about him as much. I think he ended up going to Milwaukee, maybe, out of college. I can't remember now exactly where he went.
Kind of one of those guys that's a good NBA player, but you just never hear about him. Then one day you look at his stats and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah,
He's
I mean,
good.
he was really good in college. Obviously, he played for UCLA, and so
You're looking at 20 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal, almost a block, 51% shooting, 74% from the free throw line.
yeah, I mean, I think he was about 6'9", something like that.
They list him at 6'7", 220 is what they list him at.
Okay.
He played for Milwaukee majority of his career and then
Yeah.
played for the Clippers the last couple years.
Yeah, back in the day when you played for Milwaukee and the Clippers, you kind of tended to disappear.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we don't seem to be really dominating the airwaves with Dominique Wilkins stuff right now. So do we want to go ahead and move into our closing statements and move on to trivia?
It's fine with me.
Sure.
All right. So, Ray, why don't you start us off with some closing statements?
Like I said before, I really liked how he did his thing, but really nobody on his team, and I think that's kind of where I'm at. I mean, other than that, he is probably the best dunker of all time. But I mean, he scored the shit out of the ball, and he ran them teams by himself pretty much. So that's where I'm really at.
Fair enough. I think that's me. It's crazy that I have him ranked second highest, and I'm in the 40s. No, I like Dominique. I don't have anything against him. You know, he's another guy that, and like we said earlier, has the lack of winning hurts him. You know, if he would have won a championship, I'm sure that would have solidified his greatness in all of our eyes. But he's a guy that never even made a conference finals, more or less a finals. So, you know, he did struggle in the playoffs. So that's what kept him low on my list. And I will be honest, like I haven't made any decisions yet, but he is a guy teetering and might fall off my list at the end of this. So, Uncle Doug?
Yeah, I liked watching Dominique. He had good numbers, good overall numbers. I mean, because he played a fair amount of time. Just loved watching him. Loved watching the videos again. And he, like Ray said, never had a great team. I always wondered, and we talked about this during the James Worthy episode, what he might have done had he and James traded places, or, you know, some of the other guys. If he'd had a different team, had a few titles maybe. So definitely like some human highlight reel.
Drew?
Well, basically what everybody else says, what all of his stats and all the stuff he did, and obviously one of the greatest dunkers of all time, and able to do what he did during that era of basketball. I think it's pretty impressive on the team he had. I mean, honestly, he'll have the ball most of the time with the team he has, but be able to do that with all the people in the lane, all the big centers, being able to dunk over probably about anybody in the league, it's pretty impressive.
Fair enough. And Wade?
I mean, I really like Dominique, even though it wasn't on my list. Like I said, he was originally on my first rough draft. I mean, I don't think it's a big deal to have him on your list. I just went a little different route. That's about it.
Fair enough. So that will wrap up the Dominique Wilkins portion of this episode and lead us into trivia. Sorry.
Who was that?
I was trying to get it out before I sneezed and I failed. To trivia, and I assume Drew wants to go first.
Yep. Great
right.
question. Great question.
All right, well.
First, I just got like a sample question. I want you to like, you're not going to get it right. That's why I'm not going to ask you. What's the most minutes per game anyone's ever played for a whole season? Just real quick. I think this is funny. And then I'll ask my real question.
47.
46.
I'll say 46.
Right?
35.
I bet it's Will Chamberlain.
35.
48 and a half.
It's Will Chamberlain.
It's Will.
Oh.
Because he played every minute of every game and all the minutes of overtime.
I guess the person can get a point.
All right, here time for my real question. So Wilt did that, and then he has a bunch of 48, 47 seasons. But in 2010, 2011, someone played 40.3 minutes. Who was it?
In what year? I'm
What
sorry.
year again?
2010, 2011. He played 40.3 minutes per game. Who was it?
Oh,
Oh, wow.
I think here.
Who used to be a minutes warrior? It's probably somebody for Thibodeau, like Noah or Dang or something. Jimmy Butler.
Jimmy Butler.
Oh, is this our real question?
Yeah.
Oh shit! I was just throwing shit out. Sorry. Threw me off, Drew.
I got to guess.
I don't want to ask the 48 and a half one because that's like
I got an answer.
we all ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's see him.
Luol Deng.
I said Luol Deng.
I said Kobe.
Derrick Rose.
Monta Ellis.
Oh
Monta Ellis.
Ellis.
All right then.
What team was he on?
Oh shit.
The Warriors probably.
I didn't look
Right?
at that.
Or the Mavericks, maybe.
He did play for the Mavericks there for a little while.
One of the two.
Or the Bucks.
Or the
Ooh,
Pacers?
yeah.
The Pacers.
Well, fuck, who
Yeah,
knows?
he came off the bench for the Pacers.
Did he? Yeah. Well, I know he was there when Steph Curry got drafted, and then was there for a couple more years, and then he kind of was jumping around trying to jumping on winning teams.
He had some like 25 point per game seasons there.
That's why I made that joke. Put him and Allen Iverson and Iverson.
Oh yeah.
Because their stats are identical, except he's more efficient. That's a trend there.
Yeah. All right, no points for there. Who would like to go next?
I got one. Ooh. Okay. There are 2 players tied for the most first-round losses in NBA history. Can you name the 2 players?
First round.
They're tied for
loss.
first. Is the only reason I'm asking for 2.
Dang, this is rough.
First-round losses.
Someone who's made the playoffs but barely got their team in, probably. More than likely.
I mean, obviously some years, yeah.
I got to guess.
I think I got the 2 guys.
I got guesses.
All right.
Is that everybody?
Ray's still thinking.
Okay, let's go.
I put Dirk and AI.
Okay.
I said Damian Lillard and Chris Paul.
Say Chris Paul and Dominique.
I like the Chris Paul stuff. All right.
I said Peyton and Hill.
Okay, Alex was the closest. Dirk has won. The other is John Stockton. They're tied at 43 losses apiece in the first
In
round.
the first round. Wow.
My
I always
question
think
is,
about Stockton
where's
and
Karl Malone? He wasn't
Yeah.
tied for first.
Well, I guess Stockton was drafted the year before him.
Did they make the playoffs, though?
I don't know. And then Malone left and went to the Lakers, and Stockton played another season without him. I don't know if they made the playoffs that year either, but that could have been
True.
the deciders. I don't know.
True. I guess they might have squeaked in. They probably still had some decent players when Malone left. Maybe. I'm trying to think way back in the day in the
Right.
Jazz.
Yeah.
Like Matt Harpering comes to my mind and stuff like that.
Matt Harpering, I forgot.
Greg
about
Oyster
that.
Tag.
Yeah.
You don't like Oyster Tag?
Another shout out to Mom, Oyster Tag.
Hmm.
She literally texted me the other day, like, I can't believe you brought up Scott Pollard.
Yeah, she said that to me in person when I came to her house.
Yeah.
Like, don't talk about Scott Pollard. I was like, oh, goodness.
Yeah.
But
All
yes.
right, so still no correct answers. Who would like to go next?
All right, I got one.
All right.
Most free throws made in a game with no misses.
Oh. Oh.
And I believe this
Wow.
is Dominique in 1992.
Oh, so you want the number of free throws?
Right. The number of free throws.
At first, I was
Sorry,
like,
number of free
okay.
throws.
Like, you just give us the answer.
I was like, yeah. That's the answer.
I was like,
No,
Dominique.
most free throws made the game with no misses.
Okay.
I got my answer.
I have mine.
Yep.
All right.
26.
15.
22.
15.
23.
Oh!
Wade was just one off. Good job, Wade.
I watched a game live that Paul Pierce did 21 of 21. So I knew it was bigger than 21. So I was like, I got to go bigger. But
Well, I guess 15 because it's your favorite number. That would catch your eye.
All right, Ray, you want to go?
Yeah, give me 1 second.
All right, fair enough. Okay, your second's up.
It wasn't literal.
Still no correct answers, by the way. At this rate, nobody's catching Wade.
No, I'm safe. Even if you guys go without me during harvest, we're fine.
I didn't even think about that. If Wade has to miss episodes, we can catch him, guys.
Yeah. I'm gonna come back. You guys are gonna be depressed. Yeah, we didn't catch you.
No, we're all gonna start asking each other easy questions. We'll all get 100% every night.
What number did Michael Jordan wear for the Bulls?
All right, here we go. Here's a question. Name any of the 5 players who were teammates of both Wilt Chamberlain and Bill Russell.
Oh, shit.
Oh, wow.
There's 5 of them?
There's 5.
Oh.
You don't have to name all 5.
Just one.
Yeah.
Just name one out of the 5.
I was like, if you said name all 5, I would just give up right now. I wouldn't even try.
I
Like,
feel like I should know one, though.
you would think, but I'm not doing well here. So
I don't.
I have a guess.
Okay.
I think.
oh my goodness. I don't know, but I'm just gonna write down a Celtic and go on.
That's what I did. I just wrote down a Celtics player.
All right, I got mine.
Yeah, I got a guess.
Okay.
Bill Sharman.
I just put Casey Jones.
I said Jim Luskatoff.
Joe Folks.
All right, and the 5 players are Woody Salisbury, Gary Phillips, Jerry Ward, Willie Knowles, and Mel Counts.
Why did I come up with Gary? Damn it!
Man.
That name was familiar that you wrote down, Drew. What was that from?
It's one of the guys who played with Paul Arizona when he won his championship. And
Did he pop up on the profile?
Joe Folks has come up and answered him. I think him a couple of he was
well,
like the
I know
the
he played
first
with
scoring
Will.
title or something.
Yeah, he won the first one because he was the guy who helped Arizona win his title. I knew he was there a couple years with Will.
All right. So to Alex's trivia question that I hope nobody gets at this point. What shoe company gave Vince Carter his first shoe deal?
Fuck.
Reebok. Oh.
Do. Nobody is writing. It's just silence and
All right,
staring.
I got mine.
Trying to make sure there's no shoe companies back in the day that.
I was trying to think of first shoe deal. Sometimes people
Say
change.
Yeah, I would say
They swap
I'm
deals
guessing it's not
sometimes.
Nike.
All right, I got a guess.
I mean, honestly, when you
No.
said Reebok, I might actually be right. Who knows?
I'm going with my original answer, Reebok. Screw it.
I can't think. You think I know this? You have a guess, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that everybody?
Yeah.
All right, let's see it.
Reebok.
I said Reebok.
Puma. It's Puma, isn't it?
Adidas.
The correct answer is Puma.
No way!
Oh man.
Oh my gosh!
Don't quiz Daddy on his favorite player.
Oh, that sucks. I thought I had everybody. Wow.
Of course, the one person we don't want to score.
What were you thinking? Quiz me on Vince Carter.
You didn't know the Puma. You
Jeez. Get out of town.
Impressive, Wade.
Mhm.
Very impressive.
All right. After today's 1 point given out,
The wrong person.
The scores are as follows. Ray with 18. Doug and Drew with 36. Alex with 37. And Wade with 48. Wade reclaimed the point he lost last week when I was the only person to score. So thank you for listening to this week's episode of Dominique Wilkins. Please tune in next week for our episode on Willis Reed. Yes, Willis Reed. And that will be defended by everybody but Ray. And that will be our official last episode that that the player doesn't make all 5 lists. So Willis Reed will be the last player that doesn't do that. So please tune in on Thursday for Willis Reed. And thanks for tuning in to Sports the Nemo Way.